Hey crafters, welcome to Paulette's Pretty Paper Crafts. It's time for March 2016 name tags. I've already die cut my oval from some heavyweight white cardstock by the Paper Studio. This is Stampin' Up! Sizzix Ovals set. I'm using the third one down. I've also cut 2 shamrocks with some scrap cardstock from a Quick Cuts 2x2 die. I'm going to use this little $1 stamp set that is a Pilgrim and make him a leprechaun because I don't have a leprechaun. I'm using this Sentiment Feeling Lucky, this shamrock to stamp on my die cuts, this strip of shamrocks, and then these 3 shamrocks will be featured in the finished card product. I am not stamping the month on the name tag this month. I stamped the back of those with my personal stamp, so I think that's sufficient. And I'm showing how this will fit on your name tag. So if you're following that series, you can do it on the name tag, but I'm going to be doing it on this oval die cut. I'm going to do some selective inking with some Memento Dewdrop. We're going to start with Pear Tart, and I'm just going to ink the hat, and that is my lightest ink, so you always want to start with your lightest ink first. Then I'm going to stamp with the black. I'm going to stamp the feet and the bottom of the pants, which peeks out from under the pumpkin, the little hands, the top of the arms, and the very top edge of the pumpkin, which looks like the continuation of arms, and then the face and the hair. And I'm turning my little stamp pad kind of on a 45-degree angle, and I'm using this edge that's closest to me, and I can see where the ink is landing on the stamp. That works out really good with these little tiny stamp pads. I did get a little messy. I got some ink on the stem of the pumpkin and a little bit down on the edge. So I'm just cleaning that up with a facial wipe, and I'm going to stamp that down. So that's pretty good. It is a little bit messy in the center, but that's okay. The shamrock is going to cover that up. I'm going to take this little shamrock stamp, which does not go with my die cuts, but that's okay. You can stamp these in green or blue. Blue is really fun too. I'm omitting the stem of the shamrock on the stamp, and I'm just going to kind of shoot the gap between a couple petals with it. It doesn't stamp perfectly, but it gives me a starting point of where to color. For some reason, I just can't sit down and color this little clover die cut. It turns out terrible. So the stamping helps me. So do whatever works best for you. I just want to stamp it in blue so you can see how that's kind of fun too. I'm going to take some G07 and start by putting a little dot in the center of my shamrock. And then I'm going to color in all of the light green cardstock that is outside of the stamped line. This is going to give me some really nice shadows. For some reason, I just cannot color this shamrock. So the stamping helps me. So do whatever works best for you. And some of these didn't have much stamped area on them, so I'm just darkening them. And then one little vein right up the center of each petal. I like to do a little cut area like where you cut a fresh flower or broke it off of the plant. I'm going to take some YG06 and make a little V right at the bottom of each of these petals. I think any of this little doodling you do just adds more depth. And I'm going to color the stem. And that is a pretty cute shamrock. I need to take a fine point black Sharpie and finish out the body. Kind of, sort of. Not really, but just to help me. I've got to color a little bit of the pants and a little bit of the shirt, and this just helps me know where to put that. I'm going to start with E35, and I'm not even going to color the whole pants. Really, I just need this little bottom edge, and I'm not going to do any shading. And then I'm going to take YG06 for my shirt sleeves and the top of the shirt, most of this area is going to be covered by that shamrock die cut. And then I'm going to take the G07 and outline the collar. I'm going to add it to the gloves. And I'm going to use some of this on the hat too, but I need to finish outlining the hat. I'm going to do that with my black Sharpie marker. When I use this stamp as the Pilgrim, I'm stamping the whole thing in black ink, and so the hat is black. But since I'm converting him to a leprechaun, I needed to use the green ink, and this will just make the hat become part of the image again. Make it crisp and make it pop. I'm adding an extra line here at the top and a little dash mark to give his hat a little bit more personality. And then I'm going to color in the band with the G07. And I'm going to take the YG06 and color in the socks. And the buckle on my hat, which I know isn't really traditional, but I just felt like going all green there. And I needed to blend out my collar a little bit, so I filled that in. And I'm going to take YG25 and just pull in from the edges to give my hat a little bit of rounded dimension, a little bit in the top. And then I'm going to take some Y13 and just blend. I'll give it a nice sheen on the front. And I've got to take some of that YG25 and do the brim of the hat so that it gets up to the speed. It is the same color as the hat. I'm going to take some C4 and color my shoes. I am going to come back with some black, but I'm going to let this dry before I do that or they will bleed. Let's work on the hair. I've got some Y17 and I'm just putting a nice swoosh on all of the hair there. And then I'm taking some YR68 and feathering up from the bottom. And then I'm going to flip him upside down and feather down from the hat, but leaving some of that yellow. It's okay to cover a little bit of it, but I really want that highlight. Then I'm going to take this darker orange R14 and go along the edges of the face and the outside edge of the hair and then a little bit across the bottom. And then I'm going to blend this out with that Y17 again. And our little guy is looking pretty cute. I got a little crazy on the hair, so I'm using some blender pen to try to erase that. Let's go ahead and do the face. I'm going to use some E51, E95, and RV52. I'm going to start with E51 and fill the whole face in. Then I'm going to go with the E95 under the hat and along the edges by the hair. A little swoosh over each eye and a little swoosh across the mouth. And then I'm going to use the RV52 for my cheeks and make two big old pink cheeks. And then I'm going to go back with the E51 and blend out everything but the cheeks. I am not touching the cheeks. And don't forget the neck. I always forget the neck, and then I'm like, what's wrong? And I got a little crazy with the E95, so I had to really blend that a little bit extra. So now I'm going to take my Bic Black, and this is called Tuxedo Black, and color in the shoe, but I'm leaving a highlight there on the toe. And then I will blend over that with the C4 just to give my shoe a little bit of a highlight there. I'm going to take some Ranger Multi-Matte Medium. I got this one on sale at Hobby Lobby. They were getting rid of them. And you can see I had already stamped that. I was too tired to go stamp some fresh ones, so I just flipped it over and stamped on the back for demonstration purposes. And I'm just going to glue that down strategically, and I was able to cover up any black marks left by the pumpkin. Let's go ahead and stamp our sentiment in some Ranger Archival Jet Black ink. Now on the name tag, I actually stamped across the hat for the sake of space, but I have plenty of space on the oval, so I can stamp above. And I'm going to draw in some grass with the YG25. Any of the greens are beautiful, so use any of the greens you have for grass. And now we can stamp in our little tiny shamrocks. And I'm going to use this dark green cottage ivy and stamp down once and then rotate and get a second generation stamping without re-inking. And I'm going to do that on the other side too. I'm going to see what will fit so I don't waste any ink. And do the same thing, just rotate and move over a little bit. And then it looks like we got lots of shamrocks in the background. So pretty cute. Let's see how it looks on a card. And you can use these for gift bags, gift tags, cards. Super cute. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you guys have a great St. Patty's Day.